Get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for July 7th, 2020. Q's down 0.69 here, and SPY down just about 1%. Started off bullish, starting to get a pullback now. You can see the hourly here starting to pull back a little bit. Q's as well, pulling back to the rising 20 MA here. So we are starting to get a little bit of a pullback. I'd like to see how much follow through we get tomorrow, and we'll shift to a neutral bias if we start to come back in, because we will be coming into support if we do get follow through. Okay, so still bullish going into tomorrow, but looking for us to shift to a more neutral bias. So what I would especially would shift to, if we got a move up early, let's say we moved up, we got over 258.30, 258.40, and then we sold off from there, right? That buy setup failure, essentially that rejection of the move up, and say we moved up and then we ended up selling off and getting back underneath today's low, then I'll shift to neutral from there, looking for us to pull back deeper into some support. Okay, probably around 254 there on the Qs. And then on the SPY, you can see we've already started to roll over a bit, but we are into support. Okay, so again on this, like to see us move up, and if that move up doesn't hold, we get back underneath today's low, neutral bias. Okay, otherwise anything else is, if we stay above today's low, we move back up, even we base up in today's range, still going to be bullish. Okay, and that's because we're still looking at a bullish larger context here on the Qs and the SPY, especially the Qs. But it's pretty interesting here. We moved up and we are closing weak here, so there is some pattern here, some indication that we might have a temporary top in, or that the pullback's about to start. Not saying we topped out forever and we're going to crash, nothing like that, but just because of the rejection of the new highs here on the Qs coming back in, but not going to make too much out of it quite yet. Okay, all right, so going into tomorrow, bullish. If we get underneath today's lows, neutral. All right, and then we'll watch that pullback, come back into support and see how it acts. All right, wow, looks like this VBIV gapping up. I didn't really think about holding some overnight, but maybe I should have, because it did trigger like as a swing play today. Yeah, anyway, let's go over the play here. I just saw that in the after hours here, it is up to 360 now, so up over the top there. All right, so let's take a look at today's play. Today's play was nice, though. You always feel that way when you see that. Maybe I could have got a little bit more out of this, but that's okay. All right, we did have a pro gap up on the VBIV, clearing yesterday's red bar there, triggering the daily buy setup here. Okay, and then we got a nice 2-minute pullback. All right, 2-minute pullback. This is where we entered. Okay, over 3, stop was down there at 292, so under 293. Again, got a pretty nice play to start off with there. We're looking for new highs as target 1, so we got half out at 315. Got another piece out at 325 after it made another new high. And then we kind of sat through this pullback, kind of let it play out. We knew that it was already a nice locked-in winner. And then what I saw was this 5-minute was doing a buy setup. So in the same way that the 2-minute gave that retracement in the morning, we got a nice 5-minute buy setup here. So we added to this. Okay, we added to this on the buy setup here. Okay, so added to it and then raised the stop, because our original stop was down here, right? And then we raised the stop. So on the shares that we're locking in here, right, we're actually locking in a good amount of profit, right? And so then we're able to add some shares and then bring the stop up. Okay, so I'll show you kind of how that works. I decided to keep the risk minimal. So even though I was adding 600 shares, even if those 600 shares ended up taking out our stop, which was underneath this bottoming tail here, under 3, actually we were using underneath this bar here, under 312. So even if it took that out, so I bought 600 more shares, even if that came and took that out, the shares that I already had locked in from the original play would still make enough so that they would cancel each other out. So what I'm doing is adding shares, but by raising the stop as well, I'm reducing my risk. So actually, even if those shares that I added failed, I would still be keeping all the profit I made on the first 3/4 of that play on that initial run up. Okay. Now, I mean, if I decided, well, I'm gonna do full risk again and do $300 risk, actually could have added 3,000 shares. Now, the downside to that is that if I add 3,000 shares, if the play doesn't work, then I am going to be turning, a winning play into a losing play. So that's the risk you run. And the way that I did it, it did keep it from at least losing anything on the remaining shares, and then I just keep the profit on the initial piece. I'm glad that ended up working. I know some people didn't catch the first play because it did come up early in the morning, and it was something that happened basically right at the open. And so they were able to get back in it when we did the ad and take advantage of this nice move up. So those were the only two plays for me today. Essentially, the one play that had the add and reduce. I thought it was a nice pro gap here on this, and had some decent pullbacks here. 2-minute pullback in the morning, and then a 5-minute pullback. So here was the original, and then here was the 5-minute pullback, which was pretty nice. And I didn't really think, because it did trigger, like as a swing trade off the daily here, that's actually not too bad as a daily buy setup. Now it did get to a target, but I'll show you something now here in the after hours. I didn't hold any, but would have been maybe something to consider just because the daily did just trigger the buy. So look at that in the after hours now, up to 390 there. So, well, it was a nice play either way, but sure would like to have maybe considered holding some swing. Just because it was a good daily chart, just starting the move. Actually, as a swing play, as a daily buy setup, it's definitely a valid play. All right, so hopefully you got to take advantage of the VBIV. If you were held it swing even, then well deserved on your part there. Nice play. But yeah, overall it's fine. Good play there on the VBIV. We've been really kind of having some nice days here, being picky, trying to be selective, not over trading as we wait for earnings season to come in just a couple weeks. So hopefully you're doing well as well, not over trading, or if you're finding a lot of good trades, staying active. For me, this is the kind of environment, also the kind of time of the year where I don't want to be too active, but been doing I think a pretty good job of only going after the best setups and the best strategies there. Okay. All right, so that'll do it for today's market wrap. Hope you did well today. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good rest of the day.